All right. Welcome everyone to the webinar. So excited to get this started. We are doing the time to level up in your healthy body, mind, and finances. So just while we're getting going, I thought it would be so fun if you have been part of our health organization, Optavia, go ahead and find the chat feature and just put in, it's going to say your name already, but maybe put in if you've lost any weight or the biggest blessing that Optavia has brought into your life. And if there's anybody on who wants to share, go ahead and take yourself off mute. If you want to share a little bit, just real quick, like your 15-second story of how Optavia has really been a big blessing into your life while we're getting going. Is there anybody on who would like to just share with us real quick? Hey, we have one in the chat. Liz is 45 pounds down. She says everything about Optavia is a blessing, but our community is what she loves the most and all that she learns. Awesome, Liz. Tisha says almost 30 pounds, 29.6. I love people who are exact. It's given her the power and focus to accomplish. Awesome. Shirley says 42 pounds down, community, and her coach, Heather. Oh, I love it. And Jen Oxford lost 165 pounds. Awesome, Jen. And the biggest blessing is the mind shift, to be able to dream and know she can accomplish her dreams. I love that. So in Optavia, we like to focus on what we call the trilogy of optimal health, which is healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. And this is so important to realize that you are a whole person, that if there's one area in your life that's out of whack, then other areas of your life might be out of whack as well. And also the opposite is true, is as you focus on one of these areas, like for example, a lot of people, they come into Optavia, they start focusing on their healthy body. They start getting their body to a healthy weight. They start moving their body, eating better, sleeping better. And all of a sudden, they have this desire to start working on their healthy mindset, or they have opportunities to think in a better way so that they're saving more money or being more abundant, or maybe making extra income. And it's just so true that as you make changes in one of these areas, it tends to affect the others. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this over to Heather Humphrey, one of our certified Optavia coaches. Heather, why don't you start us off with our mindset webinar tonight, our Level Up webinar, and share a little bit about your story and maybe some of the mindset focus items that you've been working on.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you, Amber. And yeah, I'm really excited for this tonight and to really be talking about leveling up because, one of the things that as a coach, because I've been coaching for a couple of years now, and really got into coaching simply because I, for selfish reasons, wanted to stay accountable to my own health. But what I needed more than anything was the mindset piece. And it's been really fun over the last couple of months to be working on, the mindset piece and the personal development side. And so, when we did the 66-day challenge that is just wrapping up, I had made a commitment to myself that I was going to really dive into the personal development. And because I struggle with just really wanting to read, to be honest, I committed to reading 30 minutes a day, and I am blown away that I made the commitment, I stuck with it, and I was able to read 2 books over the last 66 days, which is, I hate to say it, more than I've read over the last year. And it's just been really exciting. And I honestly, if you want to go to the next slide, I really just want to congratulate everyone for being here this evening, and just having that desire of wanting to level up. And congratulations to those that, did the 66-day challenge. You made that commitment that you were going to work on creating a new habit. You put something in place to track your progress. You made the commitment to work on yourself, and you committed to sticking with it. And I'm proud of you. And we first make our habits, and then our habits make us, right? So, over the last couple of months, we spent time working on that cue, routine, reward loop. And now what I want to do is I really want to ask you, are you ready to take the next step? Are you guys ready to level up? I want to talk tonight about the power of 1% changes. And if you commit to doing 1% changes, you can actually make more sustainable progress for the long term. And I had listened to this great podcast a week or so ago that talked about, making 1% versus 10% changes. And, this may be saying okay, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week. 7 days a week, that would look more like a 10% change that you're trying to make, where say a 1% would be, maybe that's, I want to get back into going to the gym. Maybe that's 1 day a week, or maybe 3 days a week. And sometimes we have several different areas in our health or in our life that we're wanting to work on. And the thought of doing 10% changes in 5 different areas I feel it's almost impossible, right? Because it's just, we're trying to do too much with too many things. So we're far more successful if we can just do 1% changes over several different areas. And we're less likely to quit and give up. So sometimes, we lose that motivation, or our pace slows down because we're setting those much bigger goals, and we're trying to keep up with that pace. So we're trying to improve or make changes in areas where we've just really kind of set the bar too high. I'm the queen of doing this. So going back to saying, okay, I'm committing to making just 1% changes in the areas that I want to focus on, kind of similar to the 66-day challenge, but let's take it up a notch. Let's level up and push ourselves even further. So you really want to identify an area in your health or your life that you want to make that change. And this is going to be an area that you have a really strong desire to make that change in, okay? It's really important to have a clear vision of, what this looks like. Where are you going? And, maybe that means you've got to write it down. And maybe you have to write it down every day. Maybe you already journal. This is perfect. Put that vision, put those 1% that you're going to work on, what those areas, write them down. This is really shifting from that extrinsic motivation to the intrinsic motivation. And some of you who are working on that weight loss mindset, maybe it's time to shift and work on enhancing your healthy mindset. So extrinsic motivation arises from outside the individual, and we do it because of the outcome. So these are things maybe it's pay raises, it's benefits, it's prizes. Maybe you win something, there's perks to it. Maybe you want to lose weight for a wedding, or you want to get into a swimsuit for spring break. But to make, things long-term, we have to really shift to that intrinsic motivation piece. So intrinsic is important, it's guiding our current choices and our goals to support our future desired outcome. So intrinsic comes from within the individual, and it's, naturally, it's satisfying to us. We want to do it. And, it seems to be, it is just more desirable when we're kind of working in that intrinsic kind of mindset piece. And we do this because, maybe it's because of growth, or we've got this real big desire to learn, or there's just this sense of curiosity and purpose. We feel passionate about it. It's a great way of self-expression, and it's fun. You can go to the next slide, please. All right, so I love this quote. Small changes eventually add up to the huge results. Um, when we're working on creating these, 1% changes, we really have to always have that big picture vision, right? So sometimes we're obsessed with, what's happening over the next 6 weeks, and we've lost that vision of what's possible, like over the next 6 months or the next year or 3 years. And, I lost 30 pounds a couple years ago, but losing 30 pounds was one thing, but getting the mind 30 pounds healthier, that takes time. Those are like the 1% changes. That's where the mindset shift comes. And so I always like to use that. I'll use that with my clients a lot too, because, like Amber was talking earlier, I mean, there's 3 different areas here. We typically usually start with that healthy body, and then the healthy mind, and the healthy finances. We improve our skill set with these 1% changes, and it starts with the little things that are just going to add up to the big things and provide the big results that we're wanting. um, we really, really want to become that dominant force in our life, and really being able to respond and handle whatever life throws our way. And this is going to really help us, in life, building the process as you become that best version of yourself with the consistency and doing these 1% changes every single day. And being the dominant force in our life, that really requires us to go to that mental gym on a daily basis. We have to be, in that mindset that we want to learn and we want to grow. We want to practice and master these critical skills for self-awareness and self-management. And along this journey of leveling up and creating what we want, we're going to be improving our skill set. And, once we hit that goal of whatever it is, because we're always going to be having goals, it's like, okay, what's next? What's the next goal? So continually having that in place. And, I've just come to learn that by internally chanting, my favorite phrase, some of you guys have heard this, new levels, new devils. Okay. So basically means that my skill set is constantly improving as I grow. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't be evolving. Now, the devil's piece to me is just, these are just the hard parts, right? Nothing comes from easy. So these 1% as we get along with these and are consistent and accomplishing it, these are the obstacles that we will overcome. So new levels, new devils is just a way to think like I am constantly growing and improving and evolving. And when we are taking the action steps, we are really adapting that growth mindset. And it's not going to be pretty. Okay. So when we're trying to level up, it's going to be messy and it will be hard at times. But as long as you have the action steps that keep us moving forward, that keep you moving forward, those 1% changes, you're on the path to success. All right, next screen, please. So a big part of this is we are always going to be trying to stay the course, right? So when we're changing our habits and creating what we want, we're going to run into obstacles and those roadblocks. This is life. And this is kind of we're going to have these daily threats to our progress. And it's crazy because our healthy behaviors, they really don't have a sense of urgency because the consequences are not immediate, right? So we have to remind ourselves, what are we wanting to create as we go along here? This is what helps us stay the course. And knowing where you are at all times, are you above the line or are you below the line? And especially in those moments of struggle, this is really key. So if you are finding yourself you're making excuses, maybe you're being judgmental, maybe you want to give up, maybe you want to quit, or you're just kind of losing sight of what you're wanting to create, those are indicators that you've kind of shifted below the line. And I think when we can think of it okay, so we've got the drama triangle and we've got the empowerment triangle. And when we are living in that empowerment triangle, we're the creator versus the victim. Okay. So, this is where we're all about taking charge and, creating and writing our story. It's being the challenger instead of the villain, where we're open and we're curious to learn, and we really embrace those obstacles as a way to learn and grow. And it's also like being the coach instead of the hero, where we're really more just, it's about helping and empowering others to be successful. So, when we're living below the line in these tough spots, it can keep us from moving forward, and recognizing where you're at, when those thoughts occur, and just ask yourself, like, what if the opposite were true? I have found that having that be a part, it's kind of like, I guess, an example of a stop challenge too, is like every time I'm coming up against like some mental roadblocks, and I'm kind of having like that Debbie Downer attitude of like, I can't, or I won't, or I'll fail, or it's too hard, I stop and I ask myself, what if the opposite were true? Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is fun. We're going to talk about slip cycles here. Now, there's going to be daily threats to your progress, and we really want to help you eliminate those pitfalls and just give you the tools so that you can work on these slip cycles. And we really, like, the goal here when we talk about these is that we really want to kind of shorten these slip cycles, because the reality is we are going to slip. It's going to happen, and it's totally normal. But really kind of being able to recognize, so that like if you are starting to slip into, say, like the drama triangle, where you're in a place where you're just kind of feeling maybe a little defensive or closed off or having to be right, we want you to recognize that, like I was talking before, like having those moments of like, okay, it starts with that self-awareness piece. And here's the thing, if you're unaware, you are operating at like a subconscious level and making choices that are not in your best interest, then you're not going to improve. When I slip, I quickly recognize that shift in like my attitude and my energy. And to shorten those cycles, I actually just tell myself, like, I don't enjoy the space that I'm in. Like, I don't like myself right now, or I don't like the way that I feel. And the quicker that I can recognize that, then the shorter that cycle is for me, and I'm able to kind of shift and get out of that. So, you know, going back, and I also feel like if we're going back to thinking about, okay, what are we wanting to create, right? Like, this is what also will help this shorten this cycle. Go back to your why, like go back to, working on those 1% changes. Because sometimes when we're in the slip cycle, we have lost sight, right? We're not being consistent in these certain areas. And this will just actually help you get back on track and moving forward. We have the best intentions when setting and working on our goals, in laying out that plan, but it's not always like a graceful start, right? But what matters most in this process is that you're working on your goals and you're not giving up when you slip. So the more aware you can be and the quicker you are to react, making the shift from being in, say, the drama triangle back up to the empowerment triangle, the shorter those slips are going to be. And Liz, I wanted to ask you, like, have you seen slip cycles help you in your life?
Yes, Heather, thank you so much. Amber, if you want to put it on my picture, I'll share my quick story. Before I found Optavia, over 8 years ago, my life was a slip cycle. It seemed like every Monday morning there was a pile of banana peels and I would slip on it. And it would take me the whole week to rededicate to start again the next Monday. And pretty soon I would slip again. And so through really focusing on not just having this structured eating plan and having this community and the coach to help me, but really working on my mindset, I found that the more that I slipped and kept getting up, the faster I was able to get up. And so now when I have a slip up, it might just be one meal or one bite when in reference to eating, for example, that I'm able to recognize that, like, oh, that was a choice I made. What did I learn from that? Have a big glass of water and keep going. Where before it would literally take me at least a week to get myself back up. And so sometimes we get discouraged that we keep slipping, right? But it's not a failure unless we're not learning anything. So the key that we want to talk about tonight, as we're talking about setting goals, is how to pick yourself up faster and just keep going, and learning that those slips are actually teaching us things. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to be successful with setting goals. I love this slide because this is in Dr. Anderson's life book. I was actually just reading this morning, and there was a great quote in element 4 that went right along with what we're talking about today. He says, it may take some work, but it may take some work, but inch by inch, everything's a cinch. And that's really what this is all about. Inch by inch, everything can be a cinch. Another quote that I love that goes along with this is, by small and simple things, great things are brought to pass. And that's really what our 66-day habit challenge is all about, is making small, simple habits. So this habit loop that we're going to talk about, this is called a habit loop. And our lives are made up of habit loops. I want you to think about that. What are some habits that you're in right now? You wake up in the morning, what do you do very first? Maybe you go to the bathroom right when you wake up. Then maybe you go brush your teeth. Like, you have these habits that you always do. And habits are good, but sometimes habits serve us and sometimes habits don't. And so it's so good to recognize what our cue is, what our routine is, why we do that, what's our instant reward, and then the long-term investment. And learning how to switch those habits to actually help us to be successful. So with our 66-day habit challenge, a lot of you are on here to celebrate completing the 66-day habit challenge. This is what your tracker looked like. I just wiped mine clean this morning. And if you want to start fresh this month, go ahead and message the person that invited you on this to get your own tracker. And being consistent with something for about 66 days is going to help you form that new habit loop. So that's what we're going to talk about with the habit loop. We have to pair it with something to make it become a habit. So Amber, if you'll put that slide back up, the habit loop, I want everyone on here to think about a habit that is not serving you right now. So for an example, it might be every time you go to the movies, you buy a bucket of popcorn, right? You smell that smell, you buy the bucket of popcorn, you get to taste that, and then what's the outcome? Maybe your stomach hurts, it didn't help you get closer to your goal. Or maybe every morning you wake up, your phone is right next to you, you pick up your phone and you waste half an hour scrolling on Facebook when you could have got up and exercised or got your day off to a better start. So I want you to think of one habit that you have in your life that is not helping you move forward, that's important to you, that you want to change. And then, oh, Amber's busted. All right, so I think she's referring to the phone, maybe, probably not the bucket of popcorn. So let's talk about that example. What is the cue? She wakes up in the morning. Maybe her alarm goes off. All right, her routine is she picks up her phone to turn off her alarm. She gets to scroll Facebook. It kind of gets that dopamine hit. What's going on? What did I miss while I was sleeping? Right? Okay, so if she wants to change that, she has to change her habits. And so a cue might be, maybe she will put her phone in another room. Maybe she'll use an old-fashioned alarm clock to wake up. And she'll keep her phone in another room so it's not the first thing that she picks up. Maybe she'll start a different routine. So maybe she'll get out of bed, she'll do 10 jumping jacks, she'll have her big glass of water, she'll go brush her teeth, and she'll just get off to a great start in the morning. She won't waste the time scrolling her phone. And what's the instant reward? She has a more positive outlook on the day, right? And the long-term investment, she got her exercise in, she got her water, it's getting her closer to her goal. So I want you to pair the habit that you want to change with the habit that you already have. Her habit was she already wakes up in the morning, she already gets out of bed. What could she do next? All right, so think about what you want to change and what you want to pair it with. So if you want to do a little bit of exercise in the morning, one thing I know that Amber does is when she brushes her teeth, she does calf raises. That's just a habit loop that she's gotten into. Every time she brushes her teeth, she does calf raises. So what's a habit that you can form with something that you already do that's very simple? All right, you can turn the page. Next slide, Amber. All right, and so as we're setting these goals, maybe in the chat thread, I would love to hear if you had been working on a habit over the last 66 days, what that was, or if you've thought of one that you want to be working. Go ahead and throw it in the chat thread. Let's share some ideas of what we can be working on. For me, it was I wanted to do something for exercise every morning. And so number one, it had to be appealing. Maybe exercise isn't appealing, but I had to find something that was appealing that I enjoyed doing, and I had to have a reason of why it was important to me. I want to get stronger, spring is coming. I want to be toned. When I wear a swimsuit, that was appealing to me. So it has to be something that you want. Next, is it achievable? I can't say that my goal could have been that I was going to run a marathon this month, because that's not achievable for me. I had to do small, simple steps. That's what I love about the 66-day habit challenge, is it has to be achievable. And so when you're setting your goal, then I want it to be so achievable that you could do, even if you had the coronavirus. You could still get on your treadmill for 1 minute every day, even if you had the cold, right? Or you could still drink an extra glass of water, even if you were sick. So what's something that you could do even on the hardest day? And that's what your floor, like your minimum, is that you're going to do every day would be. And then every day that you do more than that, so maybe you get on the treadmill for 20 minutes, or you go outside for a walk for half an hour, then you're going to put a plus on the square that you did more. And you'll see how many days you were able to achieve that goal. And then the next month, maybe you'll up your goal, because it's going to be easy. And then something got mixed up on the slide, but is it easily activated? So can you pair it with something else to easily remember to do it? So if your goal is exercise, then it needs to be a specific time of when you're going to do it. For me, it was I got up, I got my older kids out the door in the morning, and I had about 25 minutes till I had to wake up my younger kids for school. So that is when I got my exercise in every day. And that was easily activated. I knew that I had this time frame to get it done. And that's what I did every day. Doing your calf raises every day, it's easy because you're already brushing your teeth. It's not taking any more time. So those are some 3 steps on how to be successful when setting your goal. Another thing I want to talk about is often we set too big of goals. We go from 0 to 10. Like we think that we have to be perfect all of a sudden. And I want you to remember that small, simple steps. So inch by inch, anything's a cinch, right? So don't go from 0 to 10. Don't go from never running to running your goal to running a whole 5K. Start with what's good. What can I start with? Okay, I'm going to sign up to walk a 5K. That's good. A little bit better, the next time would be I'm going to run part of it. And your best would be I'm going to run the whole thing and I'm going to feel great afterwards. So same thing if you have a goal of drinking more water, that you only want to drink water. Sometimes it's hard if the only thing you drink right now is Diet Coke. That's kind of hard to switch only to water. And so just do something that's good. What's good? All right, so maybe you drink regular Coke now. Okay, something good would be maybe drinking some Diet Coke and maybe having a glass of water in between each Diet Coke that you had. And then better than that, what about if you just switch to flavored water? That's a little bit better. And then the best would be, what if you only drank water? So those small, simple steps is where you're going to see that great progress. And I love that. You don't have to be perfect. And that's the key. Consistency is the difference. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. All right, I love this. I want to go to bed by 10:30. Perfect. So that's a great goal. I love seeing these goals. Keep putting them in the chat. Let's see what you guys want to work on. And it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. You just keep going. Even if you slip, just like Heather taught, even if you slip, pick yourself up and keep going. And that's where you're going to see that big progress. All right, we have a fun story tonight. We're going to take a break from listening to us. And one of Heather's clients, actually, she invited John to be on the call tonight, and we get to celebrate him. We get to hear his story about how he not only changed his health, but how he's paying it forward. Is John on?
Well, my name's Josh, but that's okay.
Josh, I wrote it down. Oh, I do have it written down, Josh.
You know, I've been called a lot worse than that, so we're not too awfully worried about that. You know, I just listened to all these things, and I really like that 1% deal that you guys are talking about, because I needed to change my life, and I needed to change it fast and quick. And I decided I'd try a friend of mine that had a health spa, and she was going through some tough times and wasn't able to help me. But she did say something that was very, very, very great. She goes, you know, your main problem is in your gut. And I go, really? And so I didn't quite believe her. So I went and spent about $10,000 on blood tests to make sure that I wasn't sick before I started this program. And I found out that I'm not sick, that I was just fat and I couldn't do anything. My body hurt so doggone bad. And it had for a number of years. And about 3 years ago, I was really, really doing good. And somebody rear-ended me and they messed up my back. So I went through about 8, 9 different cortisone shots, and going to the doctor and physical therapy for a year and a half. And, just wasn't getting better. And then all of a sudden my plantar fasciitis kicked into my feet and I couldn't walk. And I get through work, I'm a plumber, and I was working about 70 miles from town. And so I'd work all day and then I'd drive home. By the time I drove home, I was so doggone stoved up that when I got out of the van, I'd sit there and wonder, how am I going to walk into the house without bawling? And I had a terminally ill mother-in-law that was living with us at the time, and she looked at me. She goes, "Man, you look like you're hurting." And I go, "I am." And it was just it was a real dark spot in my life because life was getting really, really bad. I just couldn't see living anymore. I didn't want to die. But I didn't want to live either. So you just get in this mode of just surviving and just surviving. You're not thriving at all, and through that lady at the health spa, all of a sudden she turned around and she couldn't help me. And we're going to give a little plug for Amber. Amber. I do that because I read Amber here on the screen as it's Heather. Heather's Facebook post attracted me. I knew she was doing something. I knew that she was helping people. I knew a lot of people that she had helped. I'd seen a lot of what they did, and I figured, if she could help them guys, she can probably help me. So what I did is I just jumped in the middle of this program, and I haven't stopped. As soon as I started doing it, she told me to do this, I do that. She told me to do this, I do that. She told me to do this, I do that. And I just hung on because I didn't want what I had. I wanted what she has. Now we're in the middle of this coaching process, and I don't want, I've been on a lot of these webinars and I talk about these 3 bad houses. My house is in shambles and I want a better house. The mansion is a little bit far for me to reach right now, but by golly, that sure looked good. She said I had 3 minutes, so I've already blown by that. But anyway, for the new people out there, just use your coach. This program was written by Dr. A, who is apparently a genius, and it'll work. And it worked good for me, and I'm a testimony for that. So I'm going to turn it back over to you young ladies. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. What a great story. I love that. I know Heather's just beaming with pride right now. We love hearing these stories from our clients. And I have to say, I love that not only did you have enough hope and faith in yourself that you could change, but you had enough courage to reach out for help. And I love in our community that we can help people see light again. And the houses that he was referencing is our mindset real estate. There's the broken house where we think that we're broken, that we can't be fixed, that we're stuck. That's just how we are. There's the fine house where we get stuck just feeling like, oh, I'm fine. I'm not on medication yet. I'm not dead yet. I must be fine. And then there's the dream house, right? That we want something more in our life. And Josh saw that he felt like he was in this broken house and he wanted to dream again. So he's on that path. And I love that he's actually helping other people, giving them hope too. And so I just want to go over the 4 components that help accelerate our clients with much more success and speed. And so we want to give you the best tools to be able to achieve your goals. So with our program, there's 4 components that are going to help you really to have the best success. The first is our transformation system. I referenced the Life book. I love it. Even if you're not a client, you can order these books and it will walk you through making these changes in your life. And so every week we just learn a new habit. We're changing our life. We're setting goals. These are amazing. Our clients that really embrace this have much more success. So if you are a client or if you're not, I really encourage you to jump in and get your Life book or open it and start working on it. The second component is our community. This is just a teeny tiny glimpse of how we all help and encourage each other to become better. It's something bigger than ourselves. And I love how we have the desire to help other people to become better too. And so no matter where you are in your journey, whether you just joined in the 66-day habit challenge as something fun to do, or if you have reached your goal, or if you are close to your goal, my biggest plea to you is that you stay in the community. When we break off and we try to do it ourselves, when we're alone, we fail alone. When we're in the community, we're there to lift each other up. So whether you pay it forward and you become a coach and you help other people, or you just embrace the community and keep learning, that will really ensure that you have the best success long term. Heather, why don't you go over the next two components of our program?
Sure. Yeah, so the fuelings, I love this one because this is really just such a great tool for our clients to just really help them create like these new healthy habits, right? So, we're providing them with these nutritionally balanced fuelings that's helping them keep full, feeling satisfied, and really kind of just helping their bodies get into that fat burn. And what's really cool about this piece of it is that when our clients hit their goal, we're actually able to help them, move into the next phase, because there's 3 phases in this. And, in that second phase, we're actually going to have them roll in some other food groups and start to have, what we would call maybe more food freedom and start doing things more on their own. But the fuelings in the very beginning really allow our clients to have such an easy, simple, no stress, no prep approach where they can really just focus on themselves in these other areas, like you were talking about, like with education in the community. And then the really cool part is that then they, once they move to out of phase 2, then phase 3, which is what we call optimization, and it's actually where I've been the last couple of years. It's great because now you've got these new healthy habits that have been ingrained, and now you get a ton of food. But now we have such a better understanding of food and really how it affects our body. So we're, able to help them, how to shop, how to eat out, how you're pairing food so that you're no longer overeating or feeling stuffed. So yeah, the fuelings are great. And then the final component that we'll talk about tonight is the coach. And studies show that, by having that accountability and that educational piece to work on creating both a healthy body and a healthy mind is really the key to having success with your health goals. And of course, those 2 components, but then as we have here through Optavia, we've got those 4 components all bundled together, that adding those extra 2 on just add that extra layer of support and success for our clients. And 85% of people who really try to make these changes on their own and they don't have the educational or behavioral piece or the accountability piece, they fail to meet their goals, or let alone try to have that long-term change that they're wanting. So what I love is that coaches are really just committed to living the habits of health. And coaches are a free resource to our clients. So coaches are just really there to kind of support, encourage people on their journey. It's zero judgment. Yeah. And so Liz, did you want to talk a little bit on kind of what path are you on, or what path are people on this call maybe?
Sure. I love this graph because it really shows us kind of our path to success. So a lot of us maybe started on that red path. We were going downhill, and that's why, just like Josh reached out, he was going downhill, right? He was miserable. He wasn't living his life to the fullest. He was in pain. He was going downhill. And so he started his new health path. And as a client, he was slowly increasing, right? He was going from good, slowly, almost to better, just slowly increasing. But because he's decided to pay it forward and help other people, we all know the teacher learns more than the student. And so we're always learning, we're always working on our own health. That path as a coach, you shoot up so much faster. You get, to progress a lot faster as you're helping other people. And so often I think about, I've been a coach for 8 years, and I always think, why am I not best yet? Why am I not perfect yet? But because I've been coaching, I keep getting better slowly and slowly and slowly. And so, it's shooting up a lot faster than it ever would have been if I just got to my goal and tried to maintain it on my own. And so this kind of shows if you want to succeed much faster, That's where it's at, paying it forward, helping other people. And so Heather, I thought it would be fun if we just kind of went over some basics of health coaching, because I know a lot of people that are on this call have been thinking about that, maybe have someone in their life that they'd like to share this with. Maybe they want, like Josh decided he wants to move forward faster. And so he wants to help other people. So I thought it would be fun, maybe if we just go over like some basic questions that people have about coaching, maybe answer a few things with that for people that are interested.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll kind of start, but like I think when one of the questions that I had, or maybe kind of like one of the concerns when I was looking at coaching for myself, is I don't have a nutritional background. Like this is not, you know, anything that I went to school for, and like where does that knowledge base come from? Like how did my coach know all the things to help me on my journey? So that was a big thing for me.
So you felt like you didn't know everything, so you couldn't be a coach? Is that what your
Well,
concept
yeah, like
was?
how is that possible to know all this stuff? Like if it's not your background. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually just talked to someone today about coaching that they were kind of thinking the same thing. She's a fitness instructor, so she really knows it, and she's a major in exercise science, so she knows a lot about fitness, but not a lot about health. And then there's clients that just started on the program, struggled with their health their whole lives, and maybe they've lost 10, 20, 30 pounds, and they have people noticing, but they kind of feel the same way. How can I teach someone else? And so I love that with coaching is the only thing that you have to have is a heart. You have to want to help people. And the thing I love about this program is it's so simple, especially if you're already on the program, you're basically just teaching other people how to do exactly what you're doing. And as a coach community, we all help each other with questions. We have a nutrition support line that we can call and get questions. We have our resources, so you don't have to know everything about coaching or about health to be able to help someone else. We always say you just share what you're excited about and you care about other people. So that's a great concept that a lot of people have. All right, here's another question. Yeah, so if you have questions, just put it in the chat. Bonnie says, do you have to keep a certain number of clients? That is another great thing that I love is if you just have a friend or a family member that you want to help and start there, you can coach just one person if you want. It's so much more fun to help a lot of people, but yes, you'll still get paid to coach one person. There's not a requirement on how many people you have to help. And Bonnie, one other thing that you're gonna love is we're not a wholesale buying club. We're not buying things at wholesale and reselling them. I'm not stocking any of my clients' food in my garage. We are a service-based industry. So we actually get paid to provide a service by helping people. And so you're not even required to order any fuelings or product as a coach, although any coach can tell you how great they are and how simple they are. So we love to eat them, but it's not a requirement. So that's something that I loved also. All right, I'm just going to check the chat. Heather, if you have another thing that you think people ask a lot, go ahead and cover that.
I think one of the things that comes up is what if I'm not good at this? Like, what if this turns out to be something that I don't want to do? And I actually love that question because I think we all know what kind of happens when people do start to help other people on their journeys. But I mean, I just love the fact that it's like it's zero risk for people to try and see if they want to help others get healthy. You know, like they're able to return that coach kit within that first year, but as well as like keep all their earnings that they've been able to make in that time period. But yeah, that does come up. And I think that because people are maybe a little scared of failure if they don't know how to do it because they don't know all the answers.
Yeah, and I think that's so rare. Like in the over 8 years that I've coached, maybe one time someone has returned their coach kit. So it's not very often that it's not a good fit, because even if you help one person, it benefits you so much. And that's one thing I loved is the community that you get, the education, the mentoring, like is worth way more than you ever spend. And so that's one thing I love too. That's a great question. Another question was, how much time does it take? You know, maybe you already have a job, you're a busy mom. And that's one thing I love. When I started coaching, I was pregnant with my 5th. Now I have 6 kids, and it's something that I could do from home in my own schedule. And so typically it takes about an hour per month per client that you're coaching. So a lot of people say, you know what, I'm just going to coach like 5 friends that will pay for my food, or, you know, pay for groceries or whatever. And it takes about an hour a week, and it's super fun. So a lot of people start there, and then they like, the more they're sharing, it's exciting, it's fun, more people are asking, and it grows from there. So depending on what your goal is, whether you just want, you know, an extra few $100s a month, or if you want to quit your job, it's either one is very doable. If you're looking at it like a job and setting those hours, you can achieve whatever you want to. So I started just kind of like as a nap time health coach. I would coach when my kids were napping, just, you know, an hour here, an hour there. But I found that the more consistent I am, just putting a little bit of time every day, it's really grown a lot over the years. So it's so much fun. So great. Any other questions? I think a question a lot of people have is, how do I find clients? And that's one thing that I love about being a health coach, is it gives you that accountability and that desire to share with other people. So you're just sharing what goals you're working on and celebrating your other people's successes. And it just really piques people's interest to ask you more about it. And you're sharing with them and really caring about what they want. So it helps you to kind of get out of your comfort zone and listen to other people, talk to other people about their goals, and really share what's working for you in your life too. So
Yeah,
great.
and I think that part of that too is how, you know, everything that, like you were talking earlier, that it's very simple process, right? Like the coaching piece, and it's very duplicatable. So you know, when people start off like coaching, like I was nervous, like you're never alone, right? You're linking arms with your mentors, simply like you were when you were on your health journey. And they are there every step of the way, helping you like have those conversations with people that might be a little hard in the beginning as you're kind of sharing your story and stuff. So I found that, you know, that seems to be a really huge benefit to this whole process, when people do decide to pay it forward, that they don't need to know everything. They've got their
Yeah.
mentor, and they can just lean in, and we're there to kind of help and support and do it together.
Yes. And Bonnie, I love your questions. You're awesome. So Bonnie asked, so what do you do in that time that you're coaching? One thing that is important to me is that I'm have a relationship with my clients. So at the beginning, when they first get started, we do a health assessment with them, really find out what their goal is, what their path is for their health journey. We get them started. It's very just plug and play. It's very simple to follow. And I check in with them every week. So Bonnie, that would look like, I have a client check-in day that I check in with all my clients on one day. It doesn't even take me a full day, you know, and I have a lot of clients. So about an hour per month per client. So if you had 5 clients, you know, that would take about an hour a week, and you would just call them and, you know, just ask what they're celebrating that day. What went well for them? What's their goal for the next week? You share with them the healthy habit for the week. Our company is great because they make your newsletter for you. So you're not having a lot of behind the scene work to do. You get to spend the time that you put in coaching actually talking to your clients. So it's just like a 5-minute phone call every week, just to make sure they're still on their path, answer questions, and encourage them to keep going. So I love that. And so that's really the time that you spend coaching, is like checking in with those clients. And then of course, as coaches, we always are learning more. And so we have great trainings. As much as you want to learn, we have access to learning whatever you want. And you really get to partner with your mentor coach, and they walk you through learning everything that you need to learn. They coach your clients with you at first to help you with any questions. So you'll never feel like you're on your own doing this, because we all help each other. But because it's so streamlined, your clients have their book that they're working on, they have their webinars that they're learning from, they have their Facebook groups that they can ask questions to. It really takes a lot of work from your shoulders, and you can just celebrate them. So that's what I love too. All right, any other question? It's been fun to talk a little bit, like give you a little glimpse about health coaching. So if it's something that you are curious about or want to explore a little bit more, reach out to the person that invited you. It's so simple to get started. Maybe just write down a few people that are on your heart that you really would love to be getting healthy with. I was reading in the Life book today how important it is for a healthy community. And that's one thing with health coaching, is you get to be surrounded by health-minded people. working on getting better all the time. And we just encourage each other. So maybe just write down who in your life you would like to see getting healthier and who you would like to help, and reach out to the person that invited you and explore it a little bit more. It's really simple to get started. You order your coaching kit. It's $199 to get started. You get a package full of your binder, everything you need to run your business, your website, access to our nutrition support. So it's a really so simple, so affordable for anyone. And we will help you like just move forward with your goals right away. So it's something that we would love to chat more with you if you think it would help you. But my final encouragement is I want to celebrate those of you that stuck with the 66-day habit challenge and completed your goal. And I want to encourage everyone to keep moving forward. After I've done this a few months in a row or a few times, now it's just automatic that I'm always thinking about something else that I want to work on. And that's what's important, is that we're always trying to improve. And so think of that small micro habit of health that you feel like March is your month to get started, taking those small steps to move forward closer to your goal. Heather, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's great. I mean, I love kind of starting the month off with, you know, kind of, it's like another clean slate of a new set of goals and those micro habits and the 1% changes to really like take it to the next level. So
Yep.
I'm excited.
It's all about leveling up, right? Make
Yeah.
that commitment, make it happen.
I love it. Great job, ladies. You know, I just want to end by saying that this is such a good opportunity to be part of the community. And like Liz and Heather said, you know, leveling up in your health. Do you need to work more on your mindset? Are you ready to work more on your healthy habits with your body? Or would it be really beneficial for you to become a coach and say, you know, come along with me? I've seen so many people over the years who that's what they really needed to level up, is they needed to have that commitment at the next level and say, I'm willing to link arms with a few other people, even in that spare time or part-time or whatever that you have available. Spending that time helping someone else is really helping you level up to that next level. So thanks, ladies. Sure appreciate you and your preparation. Great job tonight. And thank you everyone for joining in, and thanks for playing with us on the 66-day challenge. It's been so fun, and keep up the good work. Connect with the coach who invited you, and have a fabulous March.